Did you know that the average American home has over 300,000 items? That's a lot of stuff. In fact, a study found that people spend 55 minutes each day looking for things they can't find. Imagine what you could do with that time instead. Welcome to the world of minimalism, where less truly means more. Minimalists believe that by owning fewer things, they can create space for what really matters: freedom, happiness, and peace of mind. This isn't just about tidying up your room, it's about transforming your entire life. In this article, we'll explore how minimalists declutter their minds, escape the consumerism trap, and reclaim their time. You'll discover surprising strategies that can help you take control of your life. From cutting digital distractions to simplifying your finances, minimalism offers tools to unlock more freedom and joy. Ready to dive in? Let's uncover the secrets of how minimalists find freedom and how you can, too. Chapter 1. Decluttering the mind. The real first step. Most people think minimalism starts with cleaning out closets and throwing away old clothes. But that's not the full story. In reality, minimalists begin by decluttering their minds. It's a mental shift that helps them focus on what truly matters. Joshua Becker, the author of The More of Less, says, "Possessions consume our thoughts more than we realize." This is where mental decluttering comes in. One way minimalists do this is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps them stay aware of their thoughts and stop the mental clutter before it builds up. According to a study by the American Psychological Association, mindfulness reduces stress by 30%, giving you more mental space to focus on things that matter. Another tactic is the daily reset. At the end of each day, minimalists reflect on what's weighing them down mentally. By identifying and letting go of unnecessary worries, they clear the path for peace and productivity. This strategy is crucial because mental clutter often leads to decision fatigue, which impacts nearly everyone in modern life. Instead of juggling too many tasks, minimalists prioritize just a few. This frees up their minds for creative thinking and reduces anxiety. The less mental clutter you carry, the more you can be present in the moment. As Marie Kondo says in The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, the question of what you want to own is actually the question of how you want to live your life. Chapter 2. Escaping the consumerism trap. The power of conscious choice. Most people live in a consumer-driven world. Ads tell us we need the latest gadgets, trendy clothes, or a bigger house to be happy. Minimalists see right through this and take back control by making conscious choices. Here's a striking fact. The average American home contains over 300,000 items, according to the Los Angeles Times. But more stuff doesn't lead to more happiness. Minimalists embrace what's called the Pareto principle, the idea that 80% of your happiness comes from just 20% of your possessions. They escape the consumerism trap by buying with intention. Before making any purchase, minimalists ask themselves, does this add value to my life? If the answer is no, they walk away. A study by the Journal of Consumer Research found that people who buy experiences instead of material goods report 20% higher life satisfaction. Minimalists understand this, choosing experiences over things whenever possible. Minimalists also practice something called conscious consumption. This means they not only buy less but are aware of the environmental and social impact of what they do buy. By being intentional about purchases, minimalists free themselves from the endless cycle of wanting more. And that's a big part of how they find freedom. Chapter 3. Freedom through time. The minimalist's secret to life ownership. Time is the most valuable resource we have, yet so many of us waste it without even realizing it. Minimalists are obsessed with reclaiming their time and using it wisely. One strategy they use is cutting out unnecessary commitments. The average person wastes around 2 hours a day on activities that don't bring any real joy or value, according to research from Rescue Time. Minimalists are intentional about how they spend their time. They say no to things that don't align with their goals and yes to the things that truly matter. Another key tactic is simplifying routines. By automating or cutting out low-priority tasks, minimalists create more time for the important things. Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek, emphasizes, doing less is not being lazy. Don't give in to a culture that values personal sacrifice over personal productivity. Minimalists believe in working smarter, not harder. They also use time blocking to focus on deep work. This is when they set aside dedicated chunks of time for their most important tasks, free from distractions. Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, found that people who focus deeply for even just a few hours a day outperform those who multitask. Minimalists also maximize their free time by embracing simplicity in their leisure activities. Instead of cramming their schedules with events, they choose a few meaningful hobbies or experiences. This helps them feel more fulfilled, without the stress of constantly trying to do it all. If you're finding these strategies helpful, consider subscribing for more insights into living a minimalist life. Chapter 4. Digital Detox. Cutting the invisible chains in today's world, the digital space is just as cluttered as our physical space. Minimalists know this and take steps to cut back on digital distractions. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most overlooked areas in the quest for freedom. According to a study by Rescue Time, the average person spends over 3 hours a day on their phone, and much of that time is unproductive. Minimalists recognize that our devices, apps, and notifications keep us in a constant state of distraction. They employ strategies like setting phone-free zones, using apps like Freedom to block distractions, and reducing their screen time to focus on what really matters. One key tactic is the digital declutter, a concept popularized by Cal Newport in Digital Minimalism. Minimalists take time to intentionally remove unnecessary apps, emails, and digital clutter. For instance, the average email inbox contains around 200 unread emails, which adds to mental stress. Clearing out these distractions frees up more mental space. They also simplify their digital storage. Instead of endless folders of files and photos, minimalists keep only what's essential. Studies show that cluttered digital environments can increase anxiety, just like a cluttered physical space. But minimalists don't just cut back for the sake of cutting back. They aim to replace digital time with analog activities like reading, writing, or simply being in the moment. A report from Common Sense Media found that 50% of teens say they feel addicted to their phones. Minimalists combat this by setting boundaries that help them reclaim focus and attention. Chapter 5. Minimalist Money Mindset. Wealth in Simplicity. Minimalism isn't about being frugal for the sake of it. Instead, minimalists develop a healthy relationship with money that leads to true financial freedom. The key is intentional spending and understanding that money doesn't equal happiness. A Princeton study found that once people earn $75,000 a year, additional income doesn't significantly improve well-being. Minimalists take this to heart. Instead of chasing after more money, they focus on reducing expenses. The less they spend, the less they need, which means they can work less and have more time to enjoy life. This mindset shift is powerful. It's not about being cheap, but about spending on what truly brings value. One powerful tactic is budgeting with a purpose. Minimalists often use systems like the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% of their income goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings or debt repayment. This helps them avoid overspending and keeps their finances in check. They also practice mindful spending. Minimalists don't buy things on impulse. They wait, think, and ask themselves, will this improve my life in the long run? This leads to fewer regrets and more financial security. Many minimalists also embrace the idea of enough. They aren't trying to amass wealth just for the sake of it. Instead, they know when they have enough and stop chasing after more. This reduces financial stress, giving them more freedom to live life on their terms. Vicki Robin, author of Your Money or Your Life, sums it up well. Money is something we trade our life energy for. If you've enjoyed these insights and want to learn more about how to live a minimalist life, make sure to subscribe for future articles.